All right, welcome back. In our last explainer, we really set the stage for site reliability engineering. But today, we're going tactical. We are stepping right into the war room, that high-stakes environment where every single second counts and where the best SREs really show their mettle.
So let's just put you right in the hot seat. The pager goes off. The dashboard is just a sea of angry red. And all eyes? All eyes are on you. This right here is the moment of truth for any incident commander or lead SRE.
And this brings us to Act 1, managing the actual crisis. You know, it's not just about being fast. It's about having a precise, repeatable protocol that actually holds up when you're under extreme pressure.
Okay, here's the scenario for you. Your service is getting absolutely hammered, and one of your nodes has gone rogue. It's just poisoning the well, sending back a constant stream of 500 errors. What's your first move? Because in the war room, your initial actions, they can be the difference between a tiny blip and a full-blown outage.
Now, the key here, and this is so important, is you do not just yank the node. That's a recipe for disaster. That could trigger a cascading failure. Instead, you follow a very strict protocol. First, you communicate. You tell everyone your plan, no surprises in a crisis. Then, the most critical step, you analyze your capacity. Can the other nodes actually handle the extra load? Only when you're sure of that do you start to gracefully drain traffic away before taking that faulty node offline.
And this analogy just nails it, doesn't it? The service can't stop. You have to keep the business running while you're performing what is essentially live open-heart surgery on your infrastructure. You have to shift the weight before you take the wheel off.
Okay, let's move on to Act 2. You see, great SRE isn't just about putting out fires. It's about using data to prevent future ones and to really drive strategic decisions. So how do we measure what's actually happening? Let's say a reporting feature is failing. Now, you could track the internal queue size. That's a system-facing metric. But let's be honest, your user doesn't care how full your queue is. They care about one thing. Did my report generate successfully? And that's why the better service level indicator, the SLI, is the success rate. It directly measures the user's actual experience. It's the result, not just a potential cause of the problem.
Now we need to kind of shift how we think about our error budgets. See, it's not some static pool of resources you just draw from. It's a dynamic measure of velocity. So let me ask you this. When do you really start to worry about your error budget? The common answer is, when it's almost empty. But I'm telling you, if you wait that long, you have already lost the battle.
Just look at this chart. The bar on the left, that shows a healthy burn rate. You're on track, you're going to use your budget appropriately over the whole month. But the bar on the right, whoa, that's a 5-alarm fire. At that rate, your budget is going to be completely gone in 2 weeks. That trajectory, that speed, that's the real signal.
And this is exactly why savvy SRE teams alert on the burn rate. It's a predictive metric. It's not telling you how much budget you have left, it's telling you how fast you are losing it. That gives you precious time to hit the brakes on new releases or start investigating before you fly right off the cliff.
And that brings us to our final, and maybe the most counterintuitive concept of all. It's a paradox that really separates the good SREs from the truly great ones. The problem of being, well, too perfect. So imagine you pull up your dashboard and you see this. Over the last 6 months, your service has been an absolute rock, consuming only 5% of its error budget. Now, your first instinct is probably to pop the champagne, right? But is it really a success? Or is it a sign that maybe you're being far too conservative? In the world of SRE, consistently underspending your error budget can actually be a massive red flag. See, if you're this reliable, it probably means you've left innovation on the table. That surplus budget, that's your permission slip from the business to move faster. It is a resource you should be spending by shipping features more frequently, by taking calculated risks, or even by intentionally testing your resilience with some chaos engineering.
And this forces us to completely redefine our target. Reliability isn't some absolute good, it's a tool, and it's there to serve the business. And that leads to this incredibly powerful idea. Chasing 100% reliability isn't just impossible, it's a bug in your strategy. The cost and the effort it takes to get those last few nines of availability, it starves innovation, it slows you down, and that ultimately hurts the user and the business way more than a few minutes of acceptable downtime ever could.
And that is the question I really want to leave you with. Take this back to your war room, to your planning meetings. Are you using your error budget as a strategic asset to innovate and compete? Or are you just treating perfect reliability as some sacred goal that's actually holding your business back?
The answer just might change everything.